What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so let's talk about the Los Angeles Clippers because really there hasn't been much to talk about with them this year, and I might be jumping the gun doing a video about this because we are talking about the Clippers, okay? And the Clippers have broken our hearts so often in the Kawhi Leonard era. Of course, he used to be the Kawhi Paul George era, but he's no longer there. So I hesitate to even do this video because, you can say, man, this is fool's gold. They do this all the time. But last night kind of was a statement game. Okay, I think to say the least. That was a statement game. Look, the Cavaliers prior to last night were on pace to win 70 games. And for the most part, to beat the Cavaliers, you have to play damn near perfect basketball. And be that as it may, the Cavaliers didn't play bad last night. They had 6 players, I think, in double figures. They scored 119 points. It's just that the Cavaliers last night played better. In particular, Ivica Zubac, on his 28th birthday, had what may have been his best game as a professional. If not his best, just about one of his top 2 best games as professional. He came out there and dropped a monster double-double. 28 points. I believe he was 13 of 18 shooting from the floor. 20 rebounds. And outplayed by himself the front line of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen for the Cleveland Cavaliers. In a shocking 132 to 119 victory against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, this ain't just a one-off fluke victory when you really look at things, because the Cleveland Cavaliers have been winners of 7 of their last 8 ball games. 7 of their last 8 ball games. And all of a sudden now, the Clippers, who look like, possibility this team might be broken up after this year, or at least parts of it. Now all of a sudden, they're only a half game out of the 7th spot in the West. Now, I don't think this team going to win a championship, and I look at things a little bit differently from most people. I look at things from a historical perspective, and I look at probability and odds. Now, of course, we see outliers. We see teams like the 1969 Boston Celtics, who were the 4th seed, that won the championship. But then again, the Boston Celtics had championship experience, to say the least, right? At the time, Russell was a 10-time champion, ultimately becoming an 11-time champion. So they're in a rare situation. Then, of course, we had the 1995 Rockets, who were the 6th seed, the lowest seed ever to win a championship. Then again, with that team, they were the NBA champions the year before, so they had a certain pedigree about them. Plus, they had that trade for Clyde Drexler, which reinvigorated them. The Clippers, outside of Kawhi Leonard, have never really reached championship glory. As a franchise, they never have. So when I look at the fact that they are an 8th seed flirting with the 7th seed, might try to make a run for the 6th seed, but the Warriors have been hot for the most part. So I just look at it from a historical standpoint. I don't see that. It's just you're asking too much for an 8th seed to constantly go on the road and get big victories against teams that have been consistently better than them. It just takes a toll on a franchise and on players. I shouldn't say franchise. It takes a toll on the players and the team to try to always demand that they went on the road to win series. Barring some special circumstance where, teams they run into are not playing well, or forbid, have a lot of injuries. But going back to what I saw though, Kawhi Leonard, when he plays, and that's the key there. And if he stays healthy, he could still be a great player. Kawhi had 31 last night, I think it was. No, 33 points. I think it was like 4 or 5 or 4 or 6 from downtown. He shot an excellent percentage. Norman Powell had like 11 points in 18 minutes. I think he's coming back from injuries. What's the guy named? Bogdanovic, who they acquired from, was it Atlanta? He was a perfect 4-4 from 3-point range, 20 points. James Harden only shot 5 of 18 from the floor. But at this stage of his career, Mongo Slade, right? It doesn't really, the teams don't really, unless they have a lot of injury issues, then they kind of got to rely on him more. At this stage of his career, Mongo Slade, teams aren't really relying on his efficiency. If he gives you efficiency as far as shooting the basketball, that's a bonus. What he provides is playmaking. That's always been the part of his game, to be honest with you, that I've been more impressed with than his shooting and scoring. And I know that sounds ridiculous, right? But I've always been more enthralled with him as a point guard. And for the most part, when he's locked in, I think he's a great playmaker. Sometimes I think, though, he gets way too careless with the basketball. And sometimes, I don't know whether his head's not in the game, which is what I think happens. Sometimes he just makes a lot of boneheaded mistakes. But if James Harden can stay out them damn strip clubs and stay focused and his team stays healthy, then who knows? Now, I do want to say this too, though. Bogdanovic is not going to shoot a percentage every night. Zubac's not going to give you 28 and 20 every night. So this is a great victory, but I don't think this is representative of what we're going to see every night from the Clippers. But I do want to say this about Zubac, though. And this is just from watching him over the years. I do think that he's one of the most underrated big men in the league. Because when you look at him from a historical perspective, right? I've seen him consistently outplay Anthony Davis. I've seen him consistently outplay what's the guy name from the Grizzlies? Jaren Jackson Jr. I've seen him play well against Jokic. So, you know what I'm saying? He's always been there. He just doesn't get mentioned a lot. You know what I'm saying? But salute to the Clippers, man, for a big victory, man. Let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? I'm skeptical. You can't blame me for that because it's the Clippers. But, let's see if they can make some noise. You never know in the playoffs, man. Crazy things can happen. And part of it is I don't trust the Timberwolves. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust the Timberwolves. I don't trust Anthony Edwards yakking up 15 threes a night. You know what I'm saying? The playoffs is like they're just primed for an upset. But anyway, let's see what happens. Tell me what you guys think.